The cold winds of Antarctica howled across the white desert, carrying with them a silence that stretched for miles. Beneath the endless snow and layers of ice, something ancient stirred. No human eye could see it. No human ear could hear it, but deep underground a machine came alive after sleeping for 30,000 years. A pulse of light traveled through broken circuits, a signal reborn. It climbed through rock, through ice, and into the open sky. At the McMurdo Research Station, computers beeped suddenly. Dr. Elena Ward, a linguist and researcher from Britain, looked up from her notebook when she heard the sharp sound. Her colleague, Dr. Hassan Qureshi, frowned at the screen. "That can't be right," Hassan muttered, adjusting his glasses. "What is it?" Elena asked, walking over. "It's a repeating signal. Not natural, it looks designed." Elena stared at the monitor. The signal was a sequence of pulses, short, long, then a pause. It repeated in perfect rhythm like a coded message. "Is it from a satellite?" Elena suggested. Hassan shook his head. "No, it's coming from beneath us." From deep under the ice, word spread quickly. Within hours, governments across the world were notified. A joint expedition was approved, and soon specialists arrived at McMurdo. Among them was Captain James Riker, an American military advisor sent to oversee security. Riker was tall, with sharp eyes that scanned everything. He didn't trust the unknown, and this strange signal coming from the frozen continent was exactly the kind of unknown that worried him. "Dr. Ward," he said when they first met, "my orders are simple. If there's something down there that could be dangerous, we secure it. Understand?" Elena nodded politely, though she disliked the military presence. She had been chosen because of her expertise in ancient languages and communication systems. If the signal was a message, she might be the one to decode it. The team set out in heavy snow vehicles heading toward the coordinates of the signal. The journey across the icy wasteland was brutal. Wind cut against their faces, and the endless white made it easy to lose all sense of direction. After 2 days, they reached a location marked only by silence and emptiness. No mountains, no visible landmarks, just flat, frozen land. But when they drilled through the ice, strange results came back. The radar scans showed a massive structure buried beneath, larger than any human building. Smooth lines, curves, and walls that looked nothing like natural formations. "It's artificial," Hassan whispered, staring at the display. "There's something down there. Something built." Excitement and fear filled the camp. The team began excavation. Machines drilled, melted, and cut through layers of ice. After weeks of work, they finally reached a black metallic surface. It stretched far into the distance, cold and unyielding. When Elena touched it with her gloved hand, she felt a vibration. The surface hummed faintly, alive. "This is no rock," she said softly. "It's a ship." The discovery made headlines around the world. News agencies called it the greatest archaeological find in human history. Some called it proof of extraterrestrial life. Others dismissed it as an ancient human construction. But within the camp, no one doubted the truth. The structure was too advanced, too alien. As more of the ice was cleared, giant doors were revealed. Strange symbols were etched into the metal, glowing faintly with blue light. Elena studied them closely. "They're not like any language I know," she admitted. "But they follow patterns, repetition, structure. Whoever built this wanted it to be understood." Riker stood nearby, arms crossed. Or they wanted to warn people to stay away. Despite his words, the team pressed on. They used plasma cutters and explosives, but nothing broke the doors. Strangely, it was Elena who made progress. While studying the symbols, she noticed certain ones pulsed faintly when the signal above ground grew stronger. "It's like a code lock," she said. When she traced the correct sequence of symbols with her glove, the massive doors shuddered. For the first time in 30,000 years, the ship opened. A rush of stale air burst outward, carrying the scent of ancient dust. Lights flickered inside the dark corridor. The team entered cautiously, shining their lamps. The interior was vast, with walls lined in strange technology. Tubes ran along the ceiling, glowing softly. Transparent containers held fragments of crystal-like material. Strange consoles stood untouched, their screens covered in dust yet still faintly alive. Elena walked slowly, her eyes wide. This is beyond anything we've ever seen." Riker kept his hand near his holster, though no threat appeared. "Stay alert. We don't know what's waiting in here." Deep inside, they found a chamber shaped like a dome. At its center stood a pedestal, and upon it a glowing sphere pulsed with the same rhythm as the signal. Hassan approached carefully. This must be the source of the transmission. Elena studied the walls. The same glowing symbols covered them, circling the chamber. She began copying them into her notebook. Suddenly, the sphere flashed brighter. The ship seemed to wake further. Lights across the corridor activating, machines humming louder. The ground trembled softly like the heartbeat of something alive. "Step back," Riker ordered, pulling the scientists away, but Elena could not look away. She realized something as she read the inscriptions. The symbols did not just form words. They formed warnings. "This isn't only a signal," she whispered. "It's a beacon," Hassan frowned. "A beacon? For whom?" Elena looked at the glowing sphere with dread. "For whoever left it here. This ship has been calling to them, and now the message has gone out again." Silence filled the chamber as the meaning sank in. The ship was not just a relic of the past. It was a messenger. Somewhere out in the vastness of space, someone or something was listening. Riker exhaled slowly. "If that's true, then we've just told them where we are." Outside, the storm continued to howl across the frozen desert. But beyond Earth, far across the black sea of stars, ancient ears had already heard the call. The long wait was over, and they were coming back. Far away from Earth, beyond the glow of familiar stars, an ancient fleet drifted in silence. Their ships were massive, shaped like curved blades of silver, their surfaces reflecting the light of distant suns. They belonged to the Tharkun Dominion, one of the oldest civilizations in the galaxy. For thousands of years they had fought wars, conquered systems, and expanded their influence. But even empires grew tired, and the Tharkun were no longer as strong as they once had been. On the bridge of the lead vessel, High Commander Sareth studied the glowing message that had arrived through space. It pulsed in the same rhythm as the old codes of their ancestors. The signal carried coordinates, an old marker from a forgotten war. Sareth's voice was deep and steady. "The beacon has awakened. After 30,000 years, the supply ship still calls." His officers bowed their heads. One of them, Advisor Marn, stepped forward. "The vessel contained more than food and medicine, Commander. It carried the prototype energy core, the one our empire has long sought to recover." Sareth's eyes narrowed. "And it lies on the planet once called Terra, a primitive rock abandoned by us during the last war." "Primitive then, perhaps," Marn said carefully. "But 30,000 years have passed. It is possible that species now walk upon its surface." Sareth waved a hand dismissively. "No matter. If they are there, they are children compared to us. They will not stand in the way of the Dominion." The fleet turned toward the distant blue star that lit Earth, engines glowing like fire. The journey began, and with it, the fate of humanity quietly shifted. On Earth, the discovery in Antarctica had shaken every nation. The buried ship was no longer just a secret for scientists. Satellites and drones now circled the frozen continent, guarding the site. Governments argued endlessly. Some wanted to lock the ship away, others wished to study it. And some whispered of using its technology as a weapon. At McMurdo Station, Elena Ward sat in a heated room, translating more of the alien inscriptions from the ship. She was exhausted, but her mind refused to rest. Every symbol she uncovered revealed more about the ship's history. "This wasn't just a supply vessel," she said quietly to Hassan one evening. "It was part of something larger. It mentions a core of worlds and something powerful." Hassan frowned. "A power source, maybe? Or a weapon?" Before Elena could answer, the door opened and Captain Riker stepped in. His presence filled the room like a storm. "Another meeting," he said. "Command wants updates." "They're worried." "Worried about what?" Elena asked. Riker hesitated. "Telescopes detected movement in deep space. Something big is heading this way. Too fast. Too precise to be natural." Elena's chest tightened. "You think it's them, don't you?" Riker gave a sharp nod. "I think whoever left that ship behind just got our invitation." Weeks later, the world saw it. On every news channel, every screen, the same images appeared. Strange shapes breaking into the solar system. Dozens of ships, silver and massive, moving with impossible speed. The Tharkun fleet had arrived. Panic spread across nations. Some cities rioted, others prayed. Militaries scrambled jets and missiles, though many generals admitted quietly that such weapons would be useless. Humanity had dreamed of first contact, but no one expected it to come like this. In orbit above Earth, the Tharkun ships formed a silent wall. Their presence alone was overwhelming. Then a single voice echoed across global communication networks. It spoke in a language no human knew, yet strangely, the translation came through automatically, as if their technology shaped the words into human tongues. "This world holds what belongs to the Dominion," the voice declared. "The vessel beneath your ice is ours. Return it, and we shall depart. Resist, and you will be removed." The message repeated 3 times before fading into silence. At the United Nations headquarters, leaders gathered in panic. Arguments raged. Some said to surrender the ship at once, avoid conflict at any cost. Others refused. "It was found on Earth," one representative shouted. "That makes it ours. They see us as insects," another warned. "If we give them what they want, what stops them from taking more?" Amid the chaos, Riker spoke through secure channels with his commanders. "We can't match their firepower," he admitted, "but we have one advantage. They don't understand us. That's something we can use." In Antarctica, the mood grew darker. The alien fleet's shadow now hung over every researcher. The scientists who had once been excited about discovery now worked in silence, fear pressing on them like ice. Elena, however, continued her studies. She was drawn to the inscriptions in the dome chamber, feeling as though the ship itself was guiding her. One night, as snow battered the walls outside, she whispered to Hassan, "They didn't just leave supplies here. This ship was meant to survive even without them. The beacon wasn't an accident. It was designed to wake at a specific time." Hassan looked uneasy. "So they always planned to come back?" "Yes," Elena said softly. "And now they have." Above Earth, Commander Sareth studied the planet. He watched the movements of human armies, their attempts at defense. Tiny aircraft moved like insects compared to his warships. Still, something bothered him. "Primitive," he muttered, "yet persistent." Advisor Marn spoke cautiously. "They refused to surrender the ship. Perhaps we should show them our strength." Sareth nodded. Moments later, a beam of light lanced down from orbit, striking a remote patch of ocean. The water boiled instantly, sending shockwaves for miles. The message was clear. They could destroy the planet if they wished. The human response was equally clear. Fighter jets flew dangerously close to the alien fleet, releasing decoys and electronic noise. Missiles were launched, not to damage the alien ships, but to test their defenses. The aliens swatted them aside with ease, but Sareth frowned. "They are not afraid," he observed. In McMurdo Station, Riker gathered the scientists and soldiers. His voice was firm. "We're outgunned," he said. "But we're not helpless. They think we'll fold. They think we'll hand it over. But humanity doesn't work that way." Elena stood beside him, notebook in hand. "There's more," she added. "The ship contains something they desperately need. It isn't just about supplies. If we give it to them, we may give them power enough to crush countless other worlds." The room grew heavy with silence. "So we fight," Riker said at last. "Not because we can win easily, but because it's our planet. And no one, human or alien, takes what is ours without a fight." That night, the winds of Antarctica screamed louder than before. Inside the buried ship, the beacon pulsed steadily as if waiting. Elena traced her fingers over the glowing symbols once more, her heart racing. She was close to unlocking more secrets. She knew it. But outside, in the black sky above, the Tharkun fleet tightened its grip on Earth. Their patience was thinning. The first clash was near, and humanity stood on the edge of history. The world held its breath. For weeks, the alien fleet had hovered above Earth, silent except for their single warning: return the buried ship or face removal. Their silver vessels shone in orbit like sharp stars, a constant reminder that humanity was no longer alone. In Antarctica, the storm had calmed, but inside McMurdo Station, tension grew heavier each day. Soldiers patrolled, scientists whispered, and every eye turned to the dark sky whenever streaks of light hinted at movement. Dr. Elena Ward sat at a table covered in notes. Her notebook overflowed with sketches of alien symbols copied from the walls of the buried ship. Each mark glowed faintly in her memory. She had spent nights awake tracing patterns, trying to unlock the language. "They underestimate us," she said quietly. Captain James Riker looked up from a holographic map of the base defenses. "Who does?" "The aliens," Elena replied. She tapped the notebook. "They speak with power, but their words carry arrogance. They think we are children. That's why they threatened, not negotiated." Riker gave a faint smile. "Good. Let them keep thinking that. The first real clash came at sea. A Tharkan probe entered Earth's atmosphere, scanning the oceans near South America. Naval fleets responded, sending destroyers to shadow it. When the probe ignored warnings, missiles streaked upward. To humanize, the missiles hit their target, but the probe shimmered, unharmed. A beam of light swept across the water, slicing a battleship's deck in half. Yet, instead of retreating, the fleet launched drones, small and fast, buzzing around the probe like angry hornets. The aliens destroyed many, but a few slipped close enough to attach explosive charges. For the first time, one of the alien machines fell into the sea. The world cheered. Humanity had scored a small victory. On the alien flagship, Commander Sareth studied the reports with narrowed eyes. Primitive weapons. Crude tactics, yet they adapt quickly. Advisor Marn bowed. Shall we increase our assault? Sareth shook his head. Not yet. The Dominion does not waste effort on insects. But these humans, they are not afraid of fire. That is unusual. Back in Antarctica, Elena finally made progress. One evening, as she traced the symbols on the dome walls, the lights brightened. The inscriptions rearranged themselves, forming patterns that seemed to move like living script. Hassan rushed over. What did you do? Elena's voice trembled. I think. I answered it. Not fully, but enough for the ship to recognize me. A low hum filled the chamber. Lights along the ceiling glowed brighter, and the pedestal in the center opened to reveal a crystalline console. Strange holograms floated in the air, showing star maps and alien figures. It's a database, Elena whispered in awe. A record of their past. Riker entered quickly, hand on his holster. Report. Elena pointed at the glowing images. The ship remembers the war that stranded it here. And I think it knows why the aliens want it back. That night, the aliens sent a second message. Their ships projected enormous images into the skies above major cities, vast holograms of Commander Sareth himself. His voice thundered in every language. You defy the Dominion. This is not wise. The vessel is ours. Return it and you may live. Resist and your cities will burn. The message sent shockwaves of fear. In New York, in Beijing, and Paris, people gathered in streets watching the alien face above them. Some begged their governments to surrender the ship. Others shouted for defiance. At the United Nations, debates turned into shouting matches. Some leaders argued that survival was more important than pride. Others said giving up would mean slavery. Riker, speaking from Antarctica through secure channels, told them firmly, if we hand it over, they won't leave. They'll know we are weak. Humanity only survives if we stand together. The clash on the ground began days later. A group of Tharkun drones descended near Antarctica, their silver forms cutting through the clouds. They approached the excavation site, ignoring human aircraft warning them to retreat. Riker stood at the command post. All units engage! Missiles launched, artillery roared, and the white sky lit with fire. The drones moved with impossible speed, beams of light lancing down. Vehicles exploded and snow turned to steam. But the humans had prepared traps. From hidden bunkers, electromagnetic pulses fired, disrupting the drones' control systems. Some machines staggered, crashing into the ice. Others were blinded by reflective shields designed from quick human improvisation. Riker shouted orders, moving from station to station. His soldiers, though afraid, fought with determination. For every human machine destroyed, the drones lost one as well. The battle was uneven, yet it was not one-sided. When the last drone crashed into the ice, cheers erupted across the camp. It was not a great victory, but it was proof. Humans could fight back. In the aftermath, Elena studied the database further. She discovered records of the prototype energy core hidden within the ship. The Tharkan had built it to reshape planets to fuel entire worlds. If the Dominion reclaimed it, they could restore their fading empire. This is why they've come, Elena told Riker and Hassan. This core could change everything. If we give it up, we may doom not just Earth, but many other civilizations. Riker's jaw tightened. Then we hold it, no matter the cost. On the alien flagship, Sareth was less calm. Reports of drone losses angered him. 30,000 years and still they dare resist, he growled. Advisor Marn spoke carefully. Perhaps they are not mere insects. Perhaps they are a young predator. If so, Commander, should we not end this quickly? Sareth's eyes glowed with pride and stubbornness. No, the Dominion does not crush lightly. Let them struggle. Let them show their strength. When they are broken, they will kneel, and if they do not kneel, we will show them fire. Meanwhile, on Earth, ordinary people began to change. At first, fear had ruled. But after hearing of the naval victory and the drone battle in Antarctica, hope spread. Artists painted murals of human pilots facing alien ships. Children waved banners. The message was simple: we are not helpless. In Antarctica, soldiers and scientists stood together, working side by side. Some repaired damaged vehicles. Others carried supplies to the excavation site. Elena, though not a fighter, felt part of something larger. "This is what they don't understand," she said to Hassan. "They see individuals, not the spirit of humanity. They don't know that when we are threatened, we unite." The days that followed were tense. The alien fleet grew more aggressive, sending probes to test defenses across the planet. In space, satellites were destroyed. Communication lines faltered. Yet each time, humans found new ways to resist, hacking alien signals, creating false decoys, and building alliances between rival nations. For the first time in centuries, Earth stood united. But in the frozen dome of the buried ship, Elena felt the weight of the future pressing harder. She stared at the glowing console, watching alien star maps spin in the air. The message was clear: the battle had only begun. And soon the aliens would no longer test them with drones or probes. They would come themselves. The first true war for Earth was about to start. The Antarctic night was long, silent, and bitterly cold. Outside the buried ship, the winds howled across the ice fields. Inside, however, a storm of thought and action raged. Humanity had survived its first clashes with the Tharkoon fleet, but the real challenge was just beginning. Dr. Elena Ward stood at the glowing console inside the dome. Her eyes traced the symbols etched into the walls, searching for meaning. Every night, the ship seemed to pulse in response, as if it remembered her presence and wished to reveal its secrets. Hassan leaned against a support beam, tired but alert. "You've been at it for hours, Elena. What is it this time?" Elena's voice was quiet, almost reverent. "I think I've found the truth about the ship, and why the aliens need it so badly." Riker entered the chamber, his boots crunching on the metal floor. "Tell me you have good news." Elena shook her head. "It's not good news. This ship wasn't just a supply vessel. It carried a prototype energy core, one capable of producing unimaginable power. It can reshape worlds, change climates, even alter the surface of a planet. The Tharkoon need it to restore their empire. If they get it—" She didn't finish. Riker's jaw tightened. "We can't let them take it." Hassan studied the holographic star maps floating in the air. "The core is designed to be activated only by the ship itself. If we can learn to control it—" His voice trailed off, but the implication was clear. "The humans could use the ship against the aliens." Elena nodded. "Yes, but it's not simple. The ship's systems respond only to certain inputs. The symbols, the patterns, even our thoughts seem to influence it. We have to learn its language completely." Meanwhile, above Earth, the Tharkoon fleet grew restless. Commander Sareth had grown impatient with the humans' resistance. "They should have surrendered by now," he growled. Advisor Marn responded carefully. "They are clever, Commander. They adapt quickly. They fight with creativity. Perhaps underestimating them was a mistake." Sareth's eyes glowed with controlled anger. "No mistake. Humanity is weak. They survive only because they are unpredictable. That unpredictability must be crushed." The fleet moved into position, ready to launch a full assault. Ships descended into the atmosphere, their engines glowing like molten silver. Earth's military forces scrambled jets and missile batteries. But the humans knew that direct confrontation was nearly impossible. Back in Antarctica, Riker held a strategy meeting. Soldiers and scientists crowded around the holographic map of the base. "We cannot match their firepower," Riker said firmly. "But we can use the terrain, the environment, and the ship itself. It is our only advantage." Elena stepped forward, showing the symbols she had traced from the ship. "These markings aren't just decoration. They are instructions. The ship is semi-intelligent. It can respond to us. If we use it correctly, we may be able to activate its defenses or even its core against the aliens." Riker considered this carefully. "Then we prepare. Every team must know their role. Every soldier must trust the scientists. Humanity survives as one," Hassan added, "and we must learn fast. They won't wait. The fleet is already mobilizing for a strike on our position." The following morning, a tremor shook the ice. Dust fell from the ceiling of the excavation chamber. and the sound of distant engines reached human ears. Outside, a squadron of Tharkoon assault crafts sliced through the clouds. They carried energy weapons capable of leveling entire mountains, yet they moved with precision, as if testing the defenses before full attack. Riker barked orders. Deploy all countermeasures. Use decoys, mines, and EMPs. Protect the scientists at all costs. The humans fought bravely. Drones collided with alien machines, snow and ice exploding in clouds around them. Missiles streaked upward only to be deflected by alien shields. Yet each human tactic forced the Tharkoon to adapt, slowing their advance. Inside the dome, Elena worked frantically. The symbols pulsed faster, responding to her touch. Her fingers moved over the console as if guided by the ship itself. Lines of glowing text formed showing schematics of the energy core and its activation sequence. "It's like it's teaching me," she whispered. Hassan watched in awe. "If you can finish this, we could fight back." As the battle outside intensified, Elena realized the hidden truth of the ship. The energy core was not just a weapon, it was also a key, a device capable of interacting with the Tharkoon fleet remotely. If she could master its controls, they could disable the aliens' ships without firing a single missile. Riker arrived beside her. "You're certain this will work?" Elena nodded, her fingers trembling. "Yes, but I'll need direct access to the core chamber. That's the only way to fully activate it." Riker considered for a moment. "Then you go. Hassan, cover her. I'll lead the defense outside. Humanity's future depends on what you do inside." The journey to the core chamber was tense. The humans navigated narrow corridors of the ancient ship, their lamps casting shadows on walls covered with glowing symbols. The ship hummed with power, responding to Elena's presence. Finally, they reached the pedestal where the crystalline core rested. It pulsed with energy, sending waves of light through the room. Elena reached out, placing her hands on the surface. The symbols reacted instantly, spinning and forming new sequences. A low hum filled the chamber, growing into a powerful resonance. The ship's systems began to awaken fully, lights flaring along the walls. "It's responding," Elena whispered. "It recognizes us as allies. We can use it now." Outside, the Tharkoon fleet had grown aggressive. Ships descended to strike the Antarctic base directly. Energy beams lit up the sky and snow turned to steam under their immense heat. Humans moved quickly, using all available tactics to delay the attack. Then, a strange event occurred. From the buried ship, a beam of light shot upward into the sky. It was massive, bright enough to blind anyone looking directly at it. The Tharkoon ship staggered, shields flickering as the beam interacted with their technology. Riker and the soldiers watched in disbelief. "The ship, it's fighting back!" Elena's voice came over the comms. "I'm controlling it. The energy core is disrupting their systems. They can't fire properly now." The Tharkan commanders were stunned. Their fleet, the pride of their empire, struggled against a force they had considered primitive. For the first time, they realized humanity was not to be underestimated. Hours passed. The beam from the ship continued to destabilize the alien fleet. Drones crashed into the ice and assault crafts were forced to retreat. Humans took advantage of the confusion, launching counterattacks that would have been impossible under normal circumstances. Inside the ship, Elena worked tirelessly, tracing the final sequences needed to fully secure the core. She realized something important. The ship's power could not be used recklessly. If misused, it could destroy the base and possibly more. Carefully, she activated the final sequence. The core pulsed, sending energy through the ship's systems, creating a shield around the Antarctic site. Any alien ship that tried to enter that zone was instantly neutralized by electromagnetic pulses. Riker watched in awe. She did it. She actually did it. Hassan smiled despite exhaustion. Human ingenuity. We always find a way. By nightfall, the Tharkoon were forced to retreat into orbit. Their pride wounded, Commander Sareth studied the battlefield from afar. "They adapt too quickly," he admitted quietly. "They may be weaker, but they are dangerous." "Far more dangerous than I imagined," Advisor Marn nodded. "Perhaps the humans deserve respect, but respect will not stop the Dominion from trying again." Sareth's eyes glowed with determination. "No, this is a warning. Next time they will not escape. Prepare the fleet. We will return, and they will kneel." Inside the ship, Elena removed her hands from the core, breathing heavily. The chamber glowed softly, calming now that the emergency had passed. Riker approached, placing a hand on her shoulder. You saved us all. Humanity owes you everything. Elena shook her head. No, we saved ourselves. The ship only responded because we worked together. Soldiers, scientists, everyone. This is what it means to be human. Hassan added, and now we know our strength. Not just our weapons, but our mind, our courage, and our unity. That is what scares them the most. Outside, the winds of Antarctica whispered across the ice. Humanity had faced its first true test against an ancient alien empire, and survived. But the war was far from over. The energy core lay in its pedestal, a silent guardian and a promise. Whoever controlled it would shape the fate of the world, and humanity had just begun to learn how. The dawn broke over Antarctica, a pale light reflecting off endless sheets of ice. For the humans gathered around the buried alien ship, there was no time to rest. Commander Sareth's fleet still hung in orbit, massive and threatening, preparing for another strike. Humanity had survived the first encounters, but now they faced the ultimate test. Inside the dome of the ancient ship, Dr. Elena Ward moved quickly. Her fingers traced symbols on the crystalline core, activating its systems with precision. The energy pulsed, sending waves of power through the ship's circuits. Outside, soldiers and scientists watched in awe, understanding that their survival depended on this strange alien technology. Captain James Riker spoke over the comms, his voice firm and steady. Positions. Everyone in place. We hold our ground today, not just for ourselves, but for everyone on this planet. Elena paused, looking at the core. It's ready, but this is the final test. If I activate it fully, the energy will push back the aliens. They will not expect this kind of resistance, Hassan nodded. Then let's show them what humanity can do. Above Earth, the Tharkoon fleet moved with precision, planning to crush the Antarctic base in a single strike. Massive beams of energy lanced toward the surface, and smaller ships descended like swarms of silver lightning. Commander Sareth's voice echoed through the fleet. They fight bravely, but they are weak. Their survival is temporary. Prepare for full assault. This world will be ours again. Advisor Marn looked uneasy. Commander, they have shown unexpected creativity. Their tactics. They adapt faster than expected. Sareth's eyes glowed with determination. Then we will end this quickly. No mercy. On the ice below, humanity prepared. Soldiers set mines along paths, camouflaged tanks in snowdrifts, and engineers created mirrors and reflectors to redirect the alien energy beams. Jets streaked across the sky, drawing attention while drones disrupted alien sensors. Riker stood at the center of the camp, overlooking the preparations. They underestimate us, he told the troops. They think we are weak. They are wrong. Today we fight not with fear, but with courage and cleverness. Today humanity stands united. A cheer rose from the ranks. Though exhausted and afraid, they were ready. The first wave of attack came at midday. Alien ships descended rapidly, firing powerful energy beams. The ice erupted into explosions, sending snow and ice high into the air. Humans fired missiles and bullets, but most weapons had little effect. Yet every obstacle slowed the aliens, and their formations began to break as human ingenuity forced them into unpredictable patterns. From the ship, Elena activated the energy core. A pulse of light shot upward, creating a protective field over the base. Alien beams struck the shield and deflected harmlessly into the air. The fleet faltered, some ships colliding with each other in confusion. Riker's soldiers seized the moment, pushing forward, guiding alien drones into traps. Explosives went off, and the ice terrain became a maze of chaos for the invaders. Hassan shouted over the comms, excitement and fear in his voice. It's working. The ship's core is disrupting their systems. Commander Sareth was furious. His fleet staggered under the unexpected resistance. Beams flickered, shields failed, and communication between ships became unstable. Impossible, he growled. They are mere humans.
How can they fight like this?
Advisor Marn's face showed worry. Perhaps we misjudged them, Commander. Their creativity. It is beyond anything we predicted. Sareth slammed his fist against the console. Adaptation is one thing. Survival is another. Finish them. But humanity's unity continued to hold. Soldiers and scientists worked together seamlessly. Engineers redirected energy from alien beams to create traps. Drones were hacked and turned against their own fleet. Pilots led the invaders into snow-filled valleys where mines and ice traps immobilized them. Elena focused on the core, pushing the ship's energy to its limits. Lines of alien code flashed on the holographic display, showing the effects on the Tharkoon fleet. Each pulse disrupted their systems, forcing ships into retreat. Riker watched from the command post. "Elena, we need more. Push harder." Elena gritted her teeth. "I am. The core is holding. But we must be careful. Too much force could damage the base." The battle raged for hours. The sky glowed with the energy of alien weapons and human resistance. Yet slowly the tide turned. Alien ships faltered, their numbers dwindled. For the first time, humanity realized that victory was possible. In orbit, Sareth studied the battlefield in disbelief. "They are stronger than we thought. They do not rely solely on weapons. They rely on their minds, their creativity, and their unity." Marn nodded slowly. "Commander, perhaps there is more to these humans than the Dominion has ever seen. Perhaps they deserve a second look before we destroy them." Sareth's eyes narrowed. "No, the Dominion will return stronger. Today we retreat, but this planet will not escape our reach forever." On the ice, the last alien ships withdrew, leaving behind wreckage scattered across the white plains. Humanity had held its ground. Exhaustion mixed with relief as soldiers and scientists embraced, cheering for the unexpected triumph. Elena removed her hands from the core, breathing heavily. The chamber glowed softly, calm again after the storm of energy. She looked at Hassan and Riker. "It's done," she said. "The ship has responded fully. The fleet has no choice but to retreat for now." Riker placed a hand on her shoulder. "You did it. We did it. Humanity stood and we did not fall." Hassan smiled. "Not by weapons alone, but by using our minds, courage, and unity. That is what they could not anticipate." In the aftermath, the world celebrated cautiously. Cities sent messages of support to the Antarctic base. Nations began to realize that, despite fear, they could work together. Humanity had not only survived an encounter with an ancient alien empire, but had also proven its resilience, creativity, and strength. In the Antarctic camp, soldiers cleared debris while scientists studied the alien wreckage. The energy core rested safely in its chamber, a reminder of the power now in human hands, but also a warning. Riker addressed the team. "This is not the end. The Tharkoon will return, but today we have learned something important. No matter how advanced the enemy, humanity cannot be underestimated. We survive because we think, we adapt, and we unite." Elena nodded, looking at the glowing symbols on the walls. "And the ship?" "It has chosen to trust us. Perhaps it recognizes something in us it has never seen before. Courage, determination, and hope," Hassan added softly. "Perhaps it sees that humanity is worth defending, not just Earth, but life itself." Far above, Commander Sareth watched Earth retreat into calmness. Though the Dominion had been forced to leave, he did not forget what he had seen. These humans were young, but they were unpredictable, clever, and persistent. Next time he would return stronger, but he knew one truth now. Humanity was not weak. On Earth, the wind blew across the ice fields, carrying the scent of victory. Though scars remained, the planet stood untouched by domination. And deep beneath the ice, the ancient ship rested, its core glowing softly, a guardian of Earth and a promise for the future. Humanity had faced its first true test against an empire older than the stars themselves, and survived. Not because of strength alone, but because of courage, unity, and ingenuity. The future was uncertain, the challenge not over, but humanity had proven something powerful. They could stand, unshaken against the impossible, and now the galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. Never underestimate humanity.